Welcome to Language, Travel and Beyond, or LTB Blogs. Today, we are going to discuss Subject-Verb Agreement and answer some tasks and exercises provided after the discussion, where this is under English Lesson Series 3. Enjoy watching! What is subject-verb agreement? It refers to the relationship between the subject and the predicate of the sentence, where the predicate normally carries the verb. The subject and the verb must always agree in two ways. Number one, the number of the subject, and number two, the tense of the verb. General rule for words coding. For the subject, it is coded as green, and for the verb, it is coded as red. Note that this applies to all the sentences in this lesson, both the examples and the tasks or exercises. The general rule: use the S form of the verb for singular subjects and use the base form of the verb for plural subjects. S form of the verb for singular subjects. Examples: number one, he laughs loud in the room. Number two, Matthew recites the poem fluently. Number three, it rains today. Notice that this applies to verbs in simple present tense. Base form of the verb for plural subjects. Examples: number one, they gathered the books. Number two, Sandra and Emma attend the party. Number three, books provide knowledge. Again, this applies to verbs in simple present tense. Rule number one: subject and verb separated by intervening phrases. When words come between the subject and the verb, a subject-verb agreement error can occur. It is important to remember that an object of the prepositional phrase is never the subject of the sentence. Examples for rule number one. Number one, the plates on the table are expensive. Number two, the car with dazzling headlights belongs to me. Number three, my goal for my career is to make a difference. Note that the underlined words are intervening phrases which starts with a preposition. Examples of preposition: about, across, against, along, around, at, behind, between, by, for, from, in, of, on, through, to, toward, under, until, up, and with. Rule number two: using and intervening phrases, the with, together, and as well as. Phrases introduced by the above-mentioned words are intervening phrases, so the verbs must agree with the real subject. Examples for rule number 2. Number 1. The teacher, as well as the students, joins the field trip. Number 2. The senators, with the visiting diplomat, dine at a fine dining restaurant. Number 3. The bride, together with her entourage, enters the church. You have to note that the underlined words is an intervening phrase which is separated with a comma from the real subject and ends with a comma. Rule number 3. Negative explanatory phrases. Just like the intervening phrases, the verb follows the number of the real subject and not those in the negative explanatory phrase. Examples for rule number 3. Number 1. The students, not the teacher, are interested in pursuing the project. Number 2. Not the students, but the teacher is interested in the project. Number 3. The voters, not the governor, protest the election results. The underlined words is an intervening negative explanatory phrase which is separated with a comma from the real subject and ends with a comma. Rule number 4. Rule on and. Number 1. If a subject has 2 or more parts connected by and, the subject is almost always plural. Number 2. If the parts of the subject refer to the same person or thing, however, the subject should be treated as singular. Examples for rule number 4. Number 1. The principal and the department head are representing the school in the stakeholders meeting. Note that this refers to 2 different persons since each person uses the article the. Thus, it is plural. The second example is Dr. Eliza Santos, a lawyer and an educator, is always concerned about student welfare. Now, note, lawyer and educator refers to only one person describing Dr. Eliza Santos, thus it is singular. Rule number 5. Indefinite pronouns. Indefinite pronouns refer to non-specific persons or things. Most indefinite pronouns are singular, however, a few are plural. I'm giving you a list of indefinite pronouns. So, if you will see, at the first column are those indefinite pronouns which are singular in form, and then the second column is in plural form, and the third column can either be used as singular or plural. Examples for rule number 5. Number 1. Each of the students needs to improve his or her grammar skills. Number 2. Everybody is enjoying the birthday party. Number 3. Neither of the teachers enjoys accreditation time. Number 4, several houses were damaged by the strong typhoon. Rule number 6, subjects joined by or nor. If a subject has two or more parts joined by or nor, the verb should agree with the part of the subject that is nearest to the verb. Examples for rule number 6. Number 1, neither the president nor the vice presidents are aware of the changes in the plan. Number 2, not either the teacher or her students are invited to the exhibit. Number 3, neither her parents nor Steph is casting her vote in the forthcoming elections. Note, of the two subjects in each sentence, only the nearest subject is coded green to emphasize that it is the nearest to the verb. Rule number 7, using a number and the number. As a subject, a number takes a plural verb. The number takes singular verb. Examples for rule number 7. Number 1, a number of Filipinos were fully vaccinated with Pfizer brand. Number 2, the number of COVID-19 recoveries in our area has reached to 60. Number 3, a number of students are seriously attending online learning platform. Note, the words fully in sentence 1 and seriously in sentence 3 are not part of the verb phrase since they are both adverbs. Rule number 8, collective nouns. Collective nouns name a class or a group. If the group functions as a whole, treat the noun as singular. If the members of the group functions individually, treat the noun as plural. Examples of collective nouns. Here, I have given you around 20 examples, from audience up to platoon. Examples for rule number 8. Number 1, the members of the board meet today and elect new set of officers. Number 2, the board elects new set of officers today. Number 3, the audience wildly welcomes the famous singer. Number 4, the 3 youngsters from the audience clap loudly for the singer. Note, if members from a collective noun are mentioned, then it becomes plural. However, if the collective noun is used as single word, it is singular in form. Rule number 9, singular nouns but plural in form. The names of branches of study ending in S, though plural in form, are used with singular verbs when the sentence gives a definition or when the word is used in a more general sense. Examples for rule number 9. Number 1, physics is a very difficult subject. Number 2, mathematics is taught from elementary up to college level. Number 3, civics is the study other rights and duties of citizenship. Number 4, economics teaches us about production, consumption, and wealth. Number 5, my mathematics are rather rusty. Note for sentence number 5, it is plural since it refers to different skills in mathematics. Rule number 10, singular nouns but plural in form. Nouns with a plural form which ends in s, but with singular meaning, such as billiards, darts, shingles, mumps, wicket, dominoes, athletics, news, crisis, missiles, analysis, hypothesis, etc. Examples for rule number 10. Number 1, measles causes fever and a red rash on the skin, typically occurring during childhood. Number 2, the viral news spreads like a wildfire in the forest. Number 3, billiards remains to be a famous recreation for men. Number 4, darts is my favorite game when I was still in college. Rule number 11. Adjectives used as subject. Adjectives used as subject in the sentence has to agree with a verb in a plural form. Yes, an adjective can act as a noun specifically as a subject in the sentence. Examples for rule number 11. Number 1, the young are to be taken care by their parents. The poor are to be rewarded in heaven. The old are to be treated with dignity and respect. Number 4, the last are to be regarded as the first. Rule number 12. Titles, proverbs, and sayings. Titles, proverbs, or saying always take a singular verb even though they consist of plural phrases. Examples for rule number 12. Number 1, the forefathers was one of the novels I read when I was a child. Number 2, the 12 Days of Christmas is a very lively Christmas song. Number 3, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is a fantasy story. Number 4, Alibaba and the 40 Thieves is a 2004 Indian Hindi language action adventure drama film. Rule number 13. Units of measurement. Units of measurement usually takes a singular verb such as kilometers, gallons, dollars, etc. Examples for rule number 13. Number 1, 100 pesos is too much for a piece of face shield. Number 2, 20 liters of gasoline was loaded in his car. Number 3, 2/3 of the rice was kept at the warehouse. Number 4, 8 ounces of soft drinks was drunk by him. Rule number 14. Gerunds as subject. Gerunds alone take a singular verb. Gerunds linked by and take a plural verb. Examples for rule number 14. Number 1, swimming is a very famous water sports. Number 2, eating is not a good habit. Number 3, fencing and cycling are two sports not so famous in our country. Number 4, drinking and gambling are very addicting vices. Rule number 15, using nominative personal pronouns. When using the first and second nominative personal pronouns as subject and singular like the I and you, the verb has no S and it is in base form. Let's review the matrix of the nominative personal pronouns. As you see here, the first column is the person, the second column is singular, and the third column is the plural. So, our consideration here is just the first and the second under singular, which is I and you. Okay? Examples for rule number 15. Number 1. I submit my school project since it is deadline today. Note the pronoun I, which function as the subject in the sentence, is in first person singular, but its verb is in base form. Number 2. You clean your room now since it is already messy. Note the pronoun you, which function as the subject in the sentence, is in second person singular, but its verb is in base form. Recommendation: before answering the following activities and tasks, you can watch the first video of this channel titled Parts of the Speech, where nouns, aspects, and tenses of verbs and helping verbs were discussed. Activity 1. Directions. Identify the subject by coloring it green and the verb by coloring it red of the following sentences. Number 1. The 8 planets in our solar system is a newly released book. Next, number 2. Billiards relaxes me when playing. Number 3. Cindy, Randy, and Linda ride in a space shuttle at the Enchanted Kingdom. Then number 4, no one likes my idea of organizing a science club in our school. And the last one, number 5, the chairman, together with his members, leaves the room. Activity 2. Directions. Pick the correct verb form inside the parentheses of the following sentences. So let's make it slow. So these are the sentences that you will answer. Number 1, the tribe evacuates, choose safer ground. So easy. Number 2, the books in my bag are quite heavy. Number 3, 12 inches of shoes are too big for my feet. Number 4, a number of pupils joins the newly organized English club. And the last one. Number 5, Norman Paris, a blogger and a businessman, arrives today. So that's for activity 2. Hope that you are following and it is easy for you to answer. Now we have activity 3. Directions. Identify the verb or verb phrase in the following sentences. Very easy. And now these are the sentences that you will work with. Number 1. The children will be watching stage play tomorrow. Number 2. Maria Goretti has been awarded a cash prize. Number 3. Paulo plays badminton like a professional. Number 4. Edna will buy a movie ticket as part of her school's fundraising. Do you find this easy? Number 5. The children learned a lot watching this English lesson video series. And that's the last one for activity 3. Hope you are following and catching up. And this is our last activity, activity 4. Directions. Identify the rule number for subject-verb agreement used in the following sentences. For this activity, we have to make it slowly because you will be identifying the rules used for the sentences that I'll give. Number 1. The director and the actor are watching their movie preview. So what rule was used here? Number 2. 3 million pesos is the production cost of the movie. Number 3. The chairs in my room are for repair and repainting. Can you identify the rule? Number 4. I love climbing mountains as part of my hobby. And the last one is number 5. Athletics requires a highly strong body coupled with discipline. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Are you done? Now, let's check your work. Now, let's answer the tasks. Answer key for activity 1. Number 1. The 8 planets in our solar system is the subject and is the verb. Number 2. Billiards is the subject and relaxes is the verb. Number 3. Cindy, Randy, and Linda is the subject, while ride is the verb. Number 4. No one is the subject and likes is the verb. And finally, number 5. Chairman is the subject and leaves is the verb. Answer key for activity 2. Number 1. Evacuates. Number 2. Are. Number 3. Is. Number 4. Join. Number 5, arrives. Answer key for activity 3. Number 1, will be watching. Number 2, has been awarded. Number 3, place. Number 4, will buy. Number 5, learned. And the last answer key for activity 4, we have for number 1, rule number 4. Number 2, rule number 13. Number 3, rule number 1. Number 4, rule number 15. Number 5, rule number 10. For musical scoring, memories was used all throughout the recording. That is from www.bensound.com. Thank you. You may also want to read my travel blog at www.lexicalcrown.blogspot.com.